What are motivated Miyabi's biggest pros and cons? That's what I'm here to tell you today. My name is Juice, and let's get into it. First things first, our motivated Void Hunter is going to be an absolutely absurd main DPS. Like, I'm talking about some insane numbers here, folks. She will easily rise to become one of this game's top damage dealers, no questions asked. You're gonna find yourself utterly decimating endgame content when deploying our epic motivated Miyabi. She'll definitely be an upgrade over the 1.0 DPSs. Ellen isn't a very high bar to clear in the first place, and while Juyawan is pretty solid, the numbers on Virgil's daughter are certainly something else. She'll have excellent synergy when paired along with Bernice, so you'll get the best of both worlds here, and if you have Yanagi, well, shoot man, you're sorted. Since pairing the motivated one with Pink Raiden will actually end up being one of the strongest possible combos that you can play in this entire game. Yep, I'm being serious, folks. So you are sure to receive a big account upgrade when you pull for her, no matter what stage of the game that you're at. You'll definitely feel her presence with how she awesomely judgment cuts enemies into oblivion, so definitely pick her up if you're lacking in the DPS department. I sure as heck know that I'll be snatching up a copy for myself. If you were rather perceptive, you'll have noticed how Miyabi isn't exactly forcing you to bench anyone. Instead, she's jam-packed with a plethora of fantastic synergies. So instead of being irritable power creep, most characters are winning with her. I will say, however, the only unit that's really losing here is Ellen. Let's keep it 100% guys, Miyabi is ending the Shark Maid's meta career. Otherwise, she has a fantastic amount of synergies. Shoot, you know the free Harumasa that everybody is getting? Well, as we all know, this game really appreciates when you pair up two characters that are from the same faction. Okay, Juice, where are you going with this? They're both main DPSs. Aha, well my friend, have you ever considered Miyasaba dual carry? It'll actually end up being quite the solid team, not to mention a highly accessible one thanks to how we're all getting a copy of Harumasa in 1.4. There's the good old 42-day-long banner situation too, so no matter what, if you join the game in 1.4, you'll have a viable team option for her. Don't worry too much about not being able to proc disorders with other Anomaly characters, as she's relatively self-sustaining in that regard. This is because the way that Miyabi functions is that she'll deal a nuke of damage, and in order to deal a second nuke of damage, she wants a disorder procced. However, she is able to do this herself, which means that a second Anomaly isn't a strict requirement, even if it is appreciated. You know what that means? Best boy Lighter is in town, baby. Yep, if you made the choice to pull for the most attractive, handsome man in all of gacha games during 1.3, then you're in great luck. Because he works with our highly anticipated motivated Miyabi. His Fire and Ice Red Shred is perfect for her bitter freezing flames, and even though Miyabi is an Anomaly unit, his elemental shredding makes him a great partner for her, which makes me a very happy camper as you can consider me to be the #1 Lighter simp. Can't wait to pair Peak with Peak. However, do note that you'd want to stick somebody like Lucy at the end of this team so that you can get all of those juicy faction benefits. I'm seriously happy that this ended up not being Cope, so now I can use my favorite character, that being Best Boy, plus my second favorite, that being Ears, into one team. Otherwise, for all of you fans of our lovely, sweet Tsukishiro, well, hot dang, to say that you're in luck would be an understatement. Congratulations to you, as you'll be able to play one of the strongest teams in the game, the two Section 6 ladies together. Goodness, to say that they pack a punch is underselling it a bit in my opinion. No, they do much more than that. They're game enders. Okay, that sounds silly. Anyways, you get what I mean. Yanagi applies all the Anomaly which you could ever want, and you'll be cruising around in Disorder's heaven. So good on you if you chose to pick up either of the 1.3 units. They'll serve you well when paired alongside our motivated Void Hunter. Otherwise, let's not undersell the one who'll give you all of your burning desires. That's right, Bernice is in town, so stick Miyabi with her and then proceed to take down said town. Even if proccing disorders isn't an absolute necessity for our dear Void Hunter, it's still nice to have some fellow anomalies around. Bernice is a bit of an anomaly herself, but hey, that's why we all love her. So, as you can see, if you've been actively pulling for characters over these past few patches, you'll be able to form a more than satisfactory Miyabi team. Or shoot, maybe you haven't engaged with the wish mechanics whatsoever, as you've been saving all of this time for this awesome fox, in which case, dual carry alongside Harumasa it is. Plus, if you've been following the ZZZ meta for a while, you'll also notice that she's going to be a part of the currently ongoing Anomaly meta. These teams tend to be the absolute strongest in the game. I mean, shoot, you can see for yourself how Tsukishiro is absolutely shredding the scene right now, decimating every ethereal around her without even so much as a second glance. As expected of a Section 6 warrior. So naturally, a Void Hunter unit that has some anomaly-based mechanics. Yep, this is certainly gonna be something to reckon with. However, she isn't just any old Anomaly. Nope, this lady is so motivated that she broke the conventions of what Anomaly is supposed to be. A completely critless source of damage? Nope, Miyabi wants crit as well. The best way to describe her playstyle is that Anomaly drives her damage source as opposed to her dealing damage with it. You use it to proc her nukes. Those nukes are crit-based, therefore you get the best of both worlds, having your cake and eating it too. She can make use of all of the broken anomalies while still being able to deal high crit damage. So this makes the motivated one rather unique, as she is a true hybrid character. Hoyo genuinely knocked it out of the park when it came to designing her kit, since at least from what I have currently seen and based on my current knowledge, she is one of the most interesting members of the ZZZ cast kits-wise, and lore-wise too, to be fair. Such a darn cool character. We love Hoshimi Miyabi in this household. Alas, as glorious as this motivated fox may be, it'd be wrong of me to say that she has no cons whatsoever, so let's get into discussing those. First off, her free-to-play teams are pretty jank. Yes, in 1.4, free-to-plays will be eating excellently, because you can dual carry her with Harimasa, but in the long term, when he's no longer free, you're gonna be kind of cooked unless she gets more good 4-star teammates by the time she gets re-ran. Outside of Asaba, you're sorta strapped for cheap teammates. While it's fantastic that she is able to choose from such a wide pool of 5-star teammates, that did indeed come at the cost of making her 4-star teammates less than stellar. Don't get me wrong, she'll still be judgment cutting the skies with her sheer presence, and you'll be doing enough damage to clear even with 4-star teammate options, but they will be a bit more underwhelming compared to the higher end options. So Kaku works, she's within section 6-2, which helps. There's a neat bit of ice shred to take advantage of here, which Miyabi is quite a fan of, not to mention how she can proc disorders with Miyabi's Frost Flame. Lucy works too. After all, she's like the 4-star Bennett of this game. It's funny how I have to clarify 4-star Bennett, because this game was actually bold enough to go ahead and make a 5-star Bennett with no strings or gimmicks attached. But you get the idea. Great buffs which benefit Miyabi's crit nukes a whole lot. So you can in fact form a competent 4-star team for her while having it be quite good. However, it's undeniable that other 4-star options outside of this aren't all that great, and swapping out these teammates for their 5-star counterparts would do a whole lot for her. For the record, sure, Piper works, but I recommend Sukaku over her thanks to the ice shredding. Then for her W engine choices, oh boy, Miyabi's 4-star W engines are laughably bad compared to her main one. Do you want to know what her best free-to-play option is going to be upon her release? The free event W engine. You know, the one that has crit percent on it, which is the only reason that it's viable on her? Yeah, you're gonna be kinda strapped for options if you aren't planning on getting her main W engine. Once again, if you're only gonna have access to these worse options, that shouldn't be a complete and utter deal breaker for you. I mean, come on, she's a freaking Void Hunter. Obviously she's going to be good, even on a 4-star W engine option. Also, it's a matter of principle. Hoyoverse wouldn't release an almighty Void Hunter that is complete and utter bricks without a prime best in slot choice. But I won't say that she has great 4-star options, because that's just not really the case. The good news is that the brand new event W engine will end up being Harimasa's second best in slot. It'll only be behind his personal W engine by a very tiny margin, therefore you can equip that on your free lad. That saves more pulls if you're interested in pulling for both the Void Hunter and her W engine. I may be giving the impression that she's not very free-to-play friendly. That's not really the message that I want to leave you with, because that's not the case here. Plus, banners have been so stacked recently, featuring insanely strong characters and the hottest husbando to have ever walked this planet. So I'm sure a lot of your savings have been drained, unless you're somebody that's been saving for her ever since the launch of the game. In such a case, you truly are motivated, aren't you? The main point that I want to get across is that she will simply be less insanely destructive when paired with the cheapest possible options that she can use. That doesn't make her bad for free-to-plays. She'll still be a busted DPS for you, but I would still like you to keep in mind that her peak potential asks for quite the pretty Polychrome. At least this grants her excellent high Polychrome investment potential, but that's a double-edged katana, as we've just discussed. I know that I said I wouldn't make meta content until later on, but I seriously couldn't help it with Miyabi. She's just so interesting and cool, her kit looks incredible, and I've been learning about the meta pretty quickly. The thing is, my crusty nerd brain can't help but be interested in this stuff. And from what I can see, Miyabi is gonna be literally insane. I wouldn't miss out on the first Void Hunter if I were you. The animations are insane, she is practically dripping with intense aura, and I believe that she will quickly rise to become one of the most commonly owned units in ZZZ, and for good reason. I'm super impressed with what Hoyoverse has cooked with her so far. Excellent stuff. Hopefully this video was able to tell you Motivated Miyabi's biggest pros and cons. This has been Juice, signing out, and the only thing bigger than Miyabi's damage are her ears.